All right, good morning, Rams. It's Miss Poppy. Okay, today we're going to talk about debit cards and credit cards. Our standard today is 6.14b, distinguish between debit cards and credit cards. Okay, distinguish means we're going to talk about the differences between the debit cards and credit cards. Okay, so credit cards and debit cards are plastic cards that have a number and it has the cardholder names. You may have seen your parents use these before when you've gone to the grocery store, when you've gone to Quick Trip, or when you've gone to department stores, when you've gone clothes shopping and done certain things. So now we're going to talk about the differences between the two because there are differences. Okay, debit cards, when you have a debit card, that means you do not have to carry cash or a checkbook. It needs a PIN number, so you need to have a PIN to access the account. This PIN number is what helps you make purchases directly when you enter your PIN. You need money in the account to fully cover the cost of purchases. So when you use your debit card, you need to make sure that you have money in your checking account to fully cover the purchase. It's easy to access cash at an ATM. So you can use the debit card at an ATM. You drive through, put your card in, enter your PIN, and it can give you cash. This takes money directly out of your checking account. So debit cards are linked to your checking account. And when you make purchases and enter your PIN number, it's going to take the money directly out of your checking account. Okay, now we're going to move on to credit cards. Credit cards, when you use a credit card, it's like borrowing money from a bank on a plastic card. So you're basically getting a loan on a plastic card, and you pay an interest charge, which is about a fee for letting basically them use their money. So you would pay an interest charge on an unpaid balance. So if you don't pay your balance off each month, you're going to pay an interest charge at the end of the month. You do not need a PIN number for using the credit cards. You can make purchases without having the funds to cover the full cost of the purchase. Like I said, it's getting a loan on a plastic card. This affects your credit score, which we're going to talk about credit scores in a different video. It's like borrowing money that you pay back. Okay, now we're going to name 3 circumstances in which someone might use a debit card. So take about 30 seconds to think about when would you use a debit card? Okay, so number 1, you might use a debit card when you go to Kroger, so for groceries. Number 2, if you need to get gas. And number 3, if you go out to dinner. All right, name 3 circumstances in which someone might use a credit card. So take about 30 seconds there to think about 3 examples. All right, so if you have a major purchase that you need to make and you don't have the funds to cover in your checking account with your debit card and you have a credit card, that's when you would use the credit card. So if someone needs new tires on their car, or if their refrigerator goes out, or they may set aside the credit card to use for emergencies only. All right, next page. Okay. So now we're going to go over some questions with the difference between the two and which statements are true between debit and credit cards. Okay, so right here, which situation describes the use of a credit card? A PIN number was used when a purchase was made. After paying for a purchase, the buyer recorded the amount in his check register. The buyer will pay the purchase at the end of the month. After making a purchase, the amount is immediately removed from your checking account. So remember, on the notes page before what we went over. You can always rewind this video to review. But the answer is, good job, H. All right. The buyer will pay for the purchase at the end of the month when you use a credit card. Which statement is true? When using a debit card, you will be charged a fee if you do not pay the balance on time. When using a credit card, the amount is deducted from your checking account immediately. A debit card requires the use of a PIN when used for payment of a purchase for a cash withdrawal. A debit card has interest charged on any unpaid balance at the end of the month. Good job. C. All right, the last two questions. Which situation does not describe the use of a debit card? I want you to take about 30 seconds to answer that yourself and read through these carefully. And then David and James are discussing credit and debit cards. They make the following statements. So read A, B, C, and D carefully, and then which of the statements David and James made are true. Okay, so here we go. Let's go back to the first one. A PIN number was used when a purchase was made. After making the purchase, the amount of the purchase was deducted from your checking account. The buyer was denied the use of a card because lack of funds in his account. After making a purchase, the buyer was late making a payment and was charged a fee. Okay, so remember, we're looking for this situation that does not describe the use of a debit card. So, a PIN number was used for a purchase. That describes it. After making the purchase, the amount of the purchase was deducted from the checking account. That does. The buyer was denied the use of a card because of lack of funds in his account. That's true. You have to have funds to fully cover it. So after making a purchase, the buyer was late making a payment and was charged a fee. So the correct answer is J. David and James were discussing credit and debit cards. They made the following statements. You pay a credit card balance directly to the credit card company at the end of the month. Debit cards take expense directly from your bank balance, so you are not set a bill for each month. Credit cards have a limit of the amount you can charge. You cannot use your debit card if you do not have enough money in your account for the purchase. Well, all statements are true. Good job, Jay. Okay, here we go. Don't forget to answer the question, what misconceptions did you have about debit cards and credit cards prior to this lesson? Also, in your summary, what did you learn from this lesson and what did you get out of the lesson? Also, on the previous page, don't forget to answer your two questions. What are the benefits of a debit card and what are the benefits of a credit card? All right, thank you, Richland Rams. Have a good day.